Hey, soldiers, China is in the process of destroying the petrodollar in one fell swoop. The very definition of the petrodollar and why the US dollar, the greenback, is the world's reserve currency is about to be undercut and possibly eliminated by China. This would have extreme ramifications and result in higher inflation over here in America, higher interest rates, and higher taxes. It would utterly destroy most types of wealth here and probably lead to legislation and regulation that would impact tax shelters, many of which you can participate in. When I use that word tax shelter, people think of, Oprah Winfrey and Warren Buffett. No, there are ways that you can legally shelter yourself from taxes as well. That's a secret that the powers that be like to keep from you. They want you to think of a loophole as a bad thing. It's not a loophole. It's a law that they created, okay? It's in the tax code. That means they created it for themselves. They don't want you to know about it. So let's get into exactly what is happening with China and their plan to just say, you know what? This little death by 1,000 cuts where this country over here stops using the dollar to the tune that they were, and that country over there, they start buying oil in, yuan. Yeah, that's all well and good, and it is having an impact on the dollar. But if we, China, do this, if we are capable of doing this, then we will knock the foundation right out from under the dollar. And that's what we're seeing. Guys, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and hit that button that says join. Learn about what we've got to offer in the Soldier Finance Officers Club, our members only section. You're going to want to be a part of that because we dive deeply into evaluating these assets, the type of assets that are going to help you and help you continue on the road to building wealth, even if and when the dollar is less of a reserve currency than it is today. China is moving in to replace the U.S. with Gulf oil monarchies. Now, what does that mean? Back in 1973, Henry Kissinger made a deal with the Saudis. Said basically, look, you guys got all this oil, okay? What we're going to do for you is we're going to bring the terrible might of the U.S. military to bear to protect you. So you're not going to have to really go and spend a lot of money on defense. You guys just pump this oil, all right? We will protect you, and in exchange for that, you will denominate oil sales in dollars. And they said, okay, cool, let's do it. House of Saud, they said, fine, let's do it. That was the beginning of the petrodollar and really solidified the greenback, the US dollar, as the world's reserve currency and gave us basically a blank check that we have run up to $32 trillion and climbing. Going to be $50 trillion in about 8 years, 50 trillion or more. We have no debt ceiling right now. Only a country with a global reserve currency could do something as silly as not have a debt ceiling. Do you operate your household without a debt ceiling? And they'll tell you, oh, but we're the government and it's different. Yeah, it is different because all you have to do is print up more zeros. All right. So we can't do that. But without the world's reserve currency, neither will the U.S. be able to do it. It's hard to overstate the potential impact of a move underway, thanks to Biden's catastrophic diplomacy, that could result in China replacing the U.S. as the security guarantor with the petro monarchies that control so much of the world's oil reserves. So China is making overtures saying, listen, we'll protect you, okay? Look, we built up a military, all right? The U.S. is really loath to challenge us. Think about this. All those diplomatic missions to, Taiwan lately, and the State Department has come back and pretty much reaffirmed the one China policy, which is backing away from a confrontational stance with China. So China is saying, look, the U.S. don't want none, all right? We have the preeminent military besides the U.S. U.S. still has the most technologically advanced, strongest military. China has the most personnel. Okay, and they have a bigger navy in terms of just ships. What China does not have is experience. All right, they don't have experience using that. But a few of their admirals and generals are chomping at the bit to start something so that they can use all these toys that they've acquired. So they're saying, look, we can be a stability guarantor in this world if somebody acts stupid. Now, the United States just made some military overtures in the Arabian Gulf because Iran was firing on oil tankers. And to me, that's a way of saying, listen, let's reassert ourselves, okay? Let's show them that we are serious about protecting them. It's too little, too late. The United States is sending fighter jets as well as a Navy destroyer to the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman in order to bolster security and deter threats to commercial ships, according to the Defense Department. Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh said in a press briefing that the F-35 fighters and F-16 fighters and the destroyer USS Thomas Hudner, which was previously in the Red Sea, will be deployed to the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility. This, she said, will help defend U.S. interests and safeguard freedom of navigation in the region. You know, they always throw that it's about freedom, okay? How much freedom do you have as an American, if you are an American watching this? You feel free enough to walk down the streets of San Francisco without being accosted? The increased presence is in response to a number of recent alarming events in the Strait of Hormuz, Ms. Singh said, pointing to two separate incidents earlier this month during which the Iranian Navy attempted to illegally seize two oil tankers in waters between Iran and Oman. Now, so the U.S. responds militarily to this. Now, this hasn't happened yet to my knowledge, but I will bet you $1 to a donut that it will happen. You know, China brokered sort of a peace, an economic cooperation deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And Iran and Saudi Arabia go way back as being at loggerheads. But China came in and kind of calmed things down under the rubric of economic cooperation. Hey guys, let's make some money, right? I bet you that China will make overtures and say, hey, listen, guys, we're in this to make money, okay? So Iran, chill with attacking these oil tankers. Let's think about this. Don't be like the U.S. Don't have your first reaction be, start throwing munitions out there. Let's think and see if there's a way that we can profit, all right? Just like China did with brokering this economic cooperation deal between two factions that have not liked each other for decades, Saudi Arabia and Iran. All right, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman welcomed Xi Jinping to Riyadh. Bloomberg reports oil-rich Gulf monarchies are leveraging their wealth to deepen ties with China amid anxiety about the future of their long-standing security partnership with the U.S. 7 months after President Xi Jinping's participation in the first China-Gulf summit in Riyadh, economic exchanges between the world's second largest economy, China, and nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, United Arab Emirates, have been accelerating, moving well beyond crude purchases where Beijing has been dominant for years. Okay, now why are some of the reasons why Saudi Arabia might want to reevaluate the relationship with America and that whole petrodollar setup? Well, for starters, let's go back to the Trump administration. And look, we just got to be fair about this. Iran attacked some oil fields belonging to Saudi Arabia back in 2019. And Trump did not respond militarily to that, right? I think that was interpreted by the Saudis as, whether it was interpreted as maybe a faltering in the petrodollar relationship, petrodollar defense relationship between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. And when Biden came in, and that next year, that's when you started to see a lot of these overtures from China to Saudi Arabia and vice versa. Okay? So their relationship is deepening. That's one reason. Another reason is this. America is an empire in decline. Everybody can smell the blood in the water. Our president cannot go anywhere without making, all kinds of missteps in terms of speeches and actually falling down on the job, not confidence inspiring at all. So the rest of the world sees this. I'll tell you something else the rest of the world sees. Sees the feminization of our military. It sees this woke military taking hold in the United States, where we care more about whether or not this drill sergeant is being kind to this recruit. Somebody was telling me the Marine Corps shark attack, they're ending that. Okay, where the guy gets up in your face and the cover that he has on is like hitting you. That whole thing. Let me tell you something about real men. We crave adventure, don't mind discipline. And that whole shark attack thing where somebody who's made it and is where you want to be is in your face and is giving you some hardcore instruction to get you there ASAP, get you where you need to be ASAP. Real men don't mind that. Okay? And if you do mind that, then hey, we have a voluntary military. Maybe it's just not the place for you. Okay? And that's okay. But what we're seeing with the U.S. military, and Saudi Arabia sees this, okay, the whole world sees this, where we did let me tag it right now. We did the video about the major in the Army. Watch that video, okay, if you want to see exactly what I'm talking about. We're concerned with DEI, diversity, inclusion. What is it? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI, right? ESG. Somebody was talking about, Secretary of Transportation was saying she looks forward to the day when all the military vehicles are green and electrically powered and that sort of thing. What the hell are these people thinking? Saudi Arabia sees this and they're thinking they've lost their damn minds. Look, we're going to have to do one of two things. We're going to have to take money from these gold toilets we've been buying and these Gulfstream jets. We're going to either have to slow down on that and build our own military, or our own globally capable military, or we're going to have to find another partner willing to get into the relationship with us that we had and is waning with the U.S. So now we're going from the petrodollar to the petro yuan, maybe. All right. Make no mistake, these economic considerations have a direct bearing on strategic military relations. China would make every effort to leverage its increased economic and financial ties into deeper military relations, including the opening of military bases and a larger diplomatic, cultural, educational, and media relationship. And I'm going to tell you right now, with the exportation of our poisonous culture, look, they don't line up perfectly, but from a standpoint of what is culturally acceptable, Saudi Arabia lines up a whole lot better with China than they do with 2023 United States of America. The ultimate aim would be to displace the United States as the strategic guarantor for the monarchies that control the export market. Now, you could see, for a little while, both countries, the United States and China, kind of guaranteeing security. That would benefit China, not us, okay? If Saudi Arabia said, hey, look, it's nothing wrong with a world in which we have two competing reserve currencies. There's nothing wrong with that. Wouldn't be anything wrong with it for them if they're benefiting, right? So, we're going to hold on to some semblance of the relationship with America, and we're going to tighten the relationship with China. At that point, Saudi Arabia is bulletproof. Who's attacking them, okay? And then who are we getting into a relationship with to price oil in dollars? Not Russia, not after, all these sanctions we've thrown at them, okay? OPEC plus, it's over. It's done with, okay? So that's just where we are. Thank you, Joe Biden. And it's not just Joe Biden. Like I said, Trump did have a misstep on the response to that attack. But look, being absolutely fair, that Trump's inaction pales in comparison to the absolute utter disaster that has been the Biden administration. All right, now watch this video. Here's a country that ditched the dollar, and something happened after they did that. All heck broke loose. Is this the CIA trying to go into that country and destabilize it in order to get them back on the plantation, the dollar plantation? Watch the video, find out more. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.